All right. Well, welcome everybody who's hopped on. I'm so glad that you're here tonight. We are going to be sharing tonight about optimal nutrition before, during, and after pregnancy. And let me go ahead and I will get my presentation lined up for you guys. Can everybody see that?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us to learn about optimal nutrition before, during, and after pregnancy tonight. This is really such a special and crucial time for moms and babies. And those of us sharing tonight want to share with you evidence-based and really simple and convenient things you can do for yourself or people in your life. I'm sure there are many of you that have invited people tonight, or you know people who really could benefit from hearing this. But we want people to feel confident about their choices. And we really want everybody who is on this webinar tonight to feel empowered to make simple changes for themselves and their family, regardless of what stage you're in, right? Because once a mom, always a mom. Many of us may not be moms, but we may have kids in our life that we want to see thrive and be healthy. And so tonight, you're actually going to hear from several moms who are on a mission, as we like to call it. You're going to get to hear from Liz, who is a doula and a mom of two with one on the way, which is super exciting. You're going to get to hear from Dr. Cindy, who will be on tonight. And I have known her since I had my first kiddo. She works with a lot of moms and people in general for chiropractic, but she is one that I've looked to for a lot of my journey and my health journey. And I would say she is definitely a part of the reason that I'm here. And then we're also going to get to hear from Leah Schitter tonight. She is a mom of 4 and has been on her own health journey for more than 15 years. And so I've been on this journey for about 10, and I love having people that have done it way longer than me. So tonight we're all going to share our own personal stories, and we hope to inspire other moms and women to make informed decisions on their family's own health. Now, when sperm meets egg, it is a miraculous series of results that start right then and there. And trillions of cells are what causes that, right? So tonight we're going to talk about this topic with humility and share what we know today with expecting moms and other women who are looking to expand their family. So to get started, I am going to tell you a little bit about me. So you may look at this picture on the left and say, "What is that you?" So I'm Lauren Sanchez. I am one of our hosts tonight. I'm a wife and a mom of 4 amazing kids, ages 9, 7. We recently had birthdays, 4 and 3. And my husband and I are also foster parents to our 2 youngest. And we occasionally have children of varying ages in our home, really to serve children and families that are in need of a safe place. And now, for as long as I can remember, I've really been intrigued by how the body works. In fact, when I was younger in high school, I wanted to be a doctor for kids with cancer. And although that's not the path I ended up on, I still remained intrigued in health. And it really started in several key ways. One of those was chiropractic. So I love that, Cindy is going to get to talk about that tonight. But with that continued interest in health, it's just always been there. But I want to share a little bit about my story and kind of why it got reinvigorated around the time that I had kids. So that picture on the left is me in 2012 with my husband at my sister-in-law's graduation from college. And him and I were focused on health at that point, but we would eat cookies while watching The Biggest Loser. Anybody else? And for us, health was, I would say, like more of a vain pursuit, right? We just wanted to look good. Yes, we wanted to feel good, but when you're young, you think you're invincible. And that's kind of where we were. It was more about our weight. And in those several years before we had our firstborn son, Dominic, who's now 9, starting that year, shortly after that picture was taken, my father-in-law passed away due to an autoimmune disorder. And it was very sudden and tragic. And my husband and I never really thought that that would be our reality. And while that's not everyone's reality, I hope that people have grandparents, that get to meet their grandkids. Statistics today in the United States are not on our side. In fact, when we conceived, I started doing a lot more research and learning what caused illness and disease. And the root of all of it was inflammation. And I knew in doing that research that if we wanted our health to be different, if I wanted a healthy pregnancy, but healthy kids who weren't sick all the time, as well as to be around for my grandkids, which is my motivation, because my kids don't really have that. They have one grandparent, that we would have to do things differently. And honestly, the majority of Americans today need to know that. And a lot of them don't understand that, the decisions we make on a day-to-day basis matter. So it was during that time that I learned about something called Juice Plus, and we'll talk a little bit more about that tonight. But I got surrounded by a community and I started developing a passion for these things. And I remember hearing a lecture from Dr. David Kotz from Yale that said kids born after the year 2000 who eat the standard American diet will not outlive their parents because of hardening of the arteries before the age of 12. And when I heard that, and after experiencing so much loss before I had my own kids, but before I was even 30 years old, we really decided our family needed to make changes. And so when I said, more than like 10 years ago is when we started ours, that's when I got plugged into a community, which you'll hear some of the ladies share tonight who are a part of that. I learned what foods actually serve our body well, what food causes issues. We added some capsules and chewables that are fruits and vegetables to our daily routine. And my oldest, he was definitely the sickest. My now 7-year-old, he's really only been sick once in his life because of what we've learned. And he just turned 7. That is not common. And then any other kiddo that comes into our home, like our girls, they become part of that too. And they've been with us for 18 months and we have seen their health change drastically too. Now, we're not perfect. My kids get sick way less often than they used to. But the crazy thing, guys, is I now have more energy than I did before I had a kid. I feel like I can keep up with them. I don't always spring out of bed every mornings, but most of them I do. And so that's why understanding what we put in our body matters. And it's more about making lasting changes, not quick fixes. And so that's what I want to talk about tonight. So you'll see over here on the right, this is me on the left, this is me on the right. I personally feel like I'm aging backwards, and that's a beautiful thing. But I've learned from others that have, done this journey before me, which I'm so grateful for. All right. So let's talk about fertility and diet. I'm 100% convinced that mom's nutrition before, during, and after pregnancy matters, and it matters a lot. So what about fertility and diet? I just want to touch on this really quickly. And this is not a light subject. I know that there are so many women out there who are trying to get pregnant. In fact, about 10% of women have difficulty getting or staying pregnant. That's according to the CDC. And I know this is a sensitive subject, but we know from research that diet and lifestyle really do have a big impact on someone's ability to conceive. And I won't go into too much detail because this could be a whole presentation in and of itself, but this is something that is special. And if you want to learn more about that, there are some really awesome resources that we have from an OBGYN who's a part of our community, talking specifically about this topic. So if that's something you want access to, definitely connect with the person that invited you tonight, and we'll share more on that with you. Now, what we put in matters. Every pregnant mom and one who's looking to get pregnant thinks about what they eat because their doctor talks to them about it all the time. There are lists of things you should and shouldn't eat. But if we think about what we put in our body during and after pregnancy, according to experts, it's really not that complicated. The rules for a healthy lifestyle are the same as the rules during pregnancy. And it's the same no matter what. But what's really important is because the choices we make during pregnancy impact the child's life throughout the rest of his or her life. And to put it simply, we should eat a wide variety of fruits, vegetables, whole grains. We need to move our bodies, drink lots of water, and get sleep. And that's not a surprise, but I'm sure we're talking about the impact of nutrition. We're talking about cellular health here too. So when we talk about the science of, pregnancy, the quality of the eggs that the mom releases matter. The quality of the sperm from the father matters. The quality of the embryo that's grown from a single cell to that multicellular thing. Reproduction is ultimately impacted by its environment and by nutrition. And there's a doctor in our community, Dr. Mitra Ray, and she says that we want to consider all those 6 billion biochemical reactions that occur in each cell in our body. And that's not to be taken for granted. So without proper nutrition, not all those miraculous reactions can take place the way that they should to provide optimal health for the mom or the baby. And when the body gets adequate nutrition, it expresses its full, complete, complement of all the enzymes that make those trillions of reactions happen. So otherwise, the body can struggle just to maintain a viable pregnancy. And, that makes a limited number of critical enzymes, which can just make that challenging. So what we put in our body really, really does matter. Now, a lot of us, myself included, have, focused on a prenatal. And most doctors today do recommend that. And I know that this is standard of care in our country, but what I want to educate you on is the importance of considering a whole food supplement. So we know it's important to get those required nutrients like folate to prevent potential problems. But in a prenatal, we find folic acid, which is a synthetic form found in fortified foods and prenatal vitamins. And it's totally different than naturally occurring folate. There are also many people with a gene mutation that can impact fertility too. And folic acid interacts with that in a negative way. And many people don't even know they have that. But some of those studies that they actually suggest that for those people, folic acid can be harmful. So there are a few pharmacists, and if after the call you'd like these resources too, Chris and Casey Schloss, in St. Louis, they were looking for prenatals during their pregnancy, and they weren't able to find one that was proven to actually get into the bloodstream and give the body what it needed most. And so they found that there was no research behind a prenatal that proved that it did anything. So they searched and searched and searched, and the results came back empty every time. However, they did find one that some of us on this call have taken, and it's not labeled a prenatal, but it is a whole food supplement. And there are some people that have chosen to take it as such. So I want to talk about 3 different questions we should ask when we're considering what to take before, during, and after pregnancy. The first is it safe? Is it safe for me and the baby? The second is, will my body absorb it so that it can get to the baby? That should be the second question we ask. And the third is it proven to do anything? And that leads me right into this product and one of the programs that a lot of us have found helpful before, during, and after pregnancy. So the Shred 10, I'm going to touch on this now. I know we're going to have a few people share about it in a little bit, but Juice Plus, I'll talk a little bit more about what that is in a second, but the Shred 10 program, both of those are impacting people all over the world. And right now we live in such a polluted world that it's not actually possible to get enough fruits and vegetables in our regular intake of food with environmental toxins and the food that we eat. The requirement keeps going up, and yet consumption is going down. Statistics today of people that actually eat even a few servings is critically low. And during pregnancy and during prenatal life, childhood development, postpartum care, all of that, that's where Juice Plus and the Shred 10 can really take it to the next level, because it is a catalyst for change. So we'll talk more about that. But it fits well for families, men, children, and women before, during, and after pregnancy. And a lot of things out there, especially when you're starting a family, may be good for just the mom or just the dad. And it's hard to find things that are focused on a lifestyle. So what exactly is Juice Plus? I love this image in this slide because I feel like it just makes it really tangible. So it's actually a variety of 30 different fruits, veggies, and berries. We have an omega-2. They're all plant-based, but it's in a capsule or chewable form, and it's super convenient. Like I said, the omega, which is the orange one on the screen, is vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and it's plant-based. And we also have some shakes and protein powder that's great for edible cookie dough, and kids love it. They love to make hot chocolate during the cold months. It's wonderful. But what really stood out to me about this, and I'll share the other slide here in a second, is that there are a few things that make it unique. The produce that's in this, and you see all of it on the screen, all the different fruits and vegetables, it's picked from the plants at the peak of nutrition. It's tested for purity and tested for nutrient content, and it's bioavailable, meaning it actually gets into the bloodstream. Now, if any of you know this, I want you to say me in the chat, or you can raise your hand. But did you know that produce that's sent to the grocery store is not required to have any nutrient density? There are no nutritional standards for produce that goes into grocery stores. The standard is how it looks. Does it look nice? And when I learned that, it really blew my mind. I was like, oh, nutrient density does matter. That really does. But we just don't think about those things in our culture. So let's go back to those questions again. All right. The first is it safe? So this is important for us as women to consider during pregnancy and for our kids, honestly, anytime in our lives. And this is fascinating. If you look at the left side of the slide, it will give you a little bit of info on how Juice Plus starts. So it starts with the highest quality plants and seeds. They've been well cultivated in fields and orchards. It's really the best produce from the best fruit and vegetable farmers. And after they're grown and harvested, they're juiced and dried, and then they're blended into this nutritious Juice Plus product, either made into a powder or a chewable. And we work with mid-sized family farms, and they're really some of the best farmers here really throughout the world. It depends on where you're a customer, because we're in multiple countries. But if you think about it, why does it matter that it's vine ripened? Well, it's because when you pick bananas or plants and they're shipped on trucks and shipped long distances, they don't reach that nutrient density, right? Also, if they're juiced, they lose some of the nutrients that are in the seeds and the peels. Like in an orange, most of the vitamin C is found in the peel. It's not found in the actual orange itself. So back to the left here. So once the produce has been harvested and cleaned, it goes through a proprietary juicing and drying process. And they start with that whole food, not an isolated supplement that's made in a lab. It is the entire food that's put in there. They juice the whole food, including the peels, the leaves, and the seeds, like I said. And they don't shortcut the drying process like many others do. It's done at a very low temperature to preserve the living nutrients in the produce. And then there's this. And I absolutely love reading and learning and studying this, but there's careful testing by independent experts to ensure the natural purity of the finished product. So when we ask, is it safe? It is produced at a state-of-the-art facility with the highest food standards, and it's inspected by a company called NSF. It's a public health and safety company. It's a non-for-profit, and they inspect and certify the products. So each batch of everything that's in those little bottles you see is independently tested to make sure that there are no contaminants known to man, like heavy metals, mold, a lot of those other things that are in supplements that are out there. So that is one thing. And then, like I said before, Juice Plus does have naturally occurring folate versus folic acid, which if you have the MTHFR mutation, that really matters. I mean, it matters in general because it's synthetic versus not, but Juice Plus has naturally occurring folate from plants and the lemon peel. All right, let's go on to the next question, which is, will my body absorb it? I don't expect you to read the little words on the slide. This is information we can send you or share with you later. But what I wanted to show is a couple clips from some of the clinical research that is done. And if we want, what we're taking to get to our baby, to protect it, it's really important for all of us to understand this. The good news is Juice Plus has been proven that the human body is receptive to absorbing the nutrients in Juice Plus. And if you look at the one here that says bioavailability and nutrients, actually in 25 different publications, It's been found that there were significant increases in the blood levels of antioxidants and other phytonutrients after taking Juice Plus. And this is good news because remember earlier, we talked about somebody not being able to find one vitamin that had any research that it's bioavailable, but Juice Plus is completely different and it gives us peace of mind, which I think is incredible. I want to know if I'm paying for something that it's actually getting into my body and it's making a difference. If you ask Siri, if you have an iPhone, or maybe you ask Alexa, right, for Google, what is the most nutritionally researched product in the world? They're going to say Juice Plus. All right, on to the next. Is it proven to do anything? We just touched on this, but I wanted to show you a couple more slides. So we've got that it's safe for mom and baby. It gets into the bloodstream. How do we know it's going to work? The simplest answer, we have over 40 clinical research studies from leading universities and hospitals all over the world. And you can see the list here, places like Yale, MD Anderson, the University of Maryland School of Medicine, Georgetown University, Nemours Children's Clinic, just to name a few. This is an extensive list of the things that Juice Plus has been proven to do. And I showed you these before in the body, even if we can't feel it. And in my opinion, it's so reassuring to know that I have this in my body every day. I started it the week I was pregnant with my first because my pediatrician recommended it. And then I was on it from the time I conceived my second. He has by far been my healthiest baby. So I hope that you guys find that helpful. I want to go ahead and switch over to having Liz share her story. So Liz, if you would unmute, I would love for you to hop on and share with everybody.
Hi, everyone. I'm so honored to be here tonight to learn and to share with you ladies. Health is really a lifelong practice, and I really believe we're always evolving and always learning. I'm Liz Koerner. I am a wife. I am a mom of 2, soon to be 3 in June. I am also a birth doula and a natural health enthusiast. I became a part of this amazing community a little over a year ago. Our family has always been very health conscious, but as our children are getting older, we're finding that those healthy habits are becoming a struggle. And in the past, we've always turned to making fresh juice and to help incorporate and hide fruits and vegetables. But now, especially with food costs and the busy season that we're in, I just don't have time to spend, half an hour, 45 minutes in the kitchen juicing every day. And it's a lot more cost effective to just have the Juice Plus. It's available in our family, for our family and our life. This time last year, my oldest, my 6-year-old, was the sickest he has been in a long time, all in the same week. And I remember turning to Lauren Sanchez out of desperation because I had seen her family consuming Juice Plus for so long and just watching her story along the way. And I was desperate for a change and a simple solution that would help our family and to take health into our own hands. So at that point, we decided to say yes to implementing change. And since then, it'll be a year next month. Our family has been consuming whole food capsules and gummies every single day. My children remind me if I don't remember. And it's insane how we have seen so much improvement already. Just the difference between my son being in kindergarten from VPK, like he just had his first sick day this month for the school year, where the year before it was like every 2 weeks we were battling something. And even when we are sick, it's amazing how quickly our family is able to bounce back. I was sick a couple of weeks ago for the first time, and my husband and I were like, I don't remember when the last time I was sick. I think it was probably 7 or 8 months ago. And even being pregnant, when your immune system is supposed to be depleted, I literally bounced back in a day. And it's just so reassuring to know that I am implementing these things into our lifestyle. And it's not just seeing something or hearing something, it's actually changing the way we're living. And, we've been leaning into this supportive community, and it's really helped with shaping the current season we're in. And it's made me look at health before pregnancy and prenatally in a whole different light. we found out we were expecting baby number 3 in October, which was definitely a surprise. We're calling this our blessing baby. And like I said, I've always been very active with my 2 pregnancies. I was always very health conscious. I gained, a healthy amount of weight with both. I worked out through both pregnancies. But now I'm 4 years older since my last pregnancy. And some OB practices would be considered geriatric. Anything over 35 is considered geriatric. And I just turned 37 in November. And that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to take my health to the next level with this pregnancy, knowing that I was going to be facing different challenges with my age, chasing 2 different, 2 kids now on top of it, not having the 3-hour naps like I had with my first pregnancy. And just being able to be conscious and aware of my health choices. And it's just being able to control different aspects, knowing that I can't control my age. I can't control other environmental factors, but I can totally control what goes into my body. And on the days where I can't meet those standards of what we should be consuming, I'm able to bridge the gap with the 30 fruits and vegetables that I take every day. During my first trimester, I experienced a ton of morning sickness. It was really all day sickness for like weeks on end. And I was literally making myself eat, which was really hard because I am such a conscious person of nutrient dense foods, knowing that like surviving on oatmeal was not a good thing. But I remembered the video that Lauren had shared with me about Casey's story about choosing Juice Bless as her prenatal. And it was just such a peace of mind knowing that, especially during the first trimester, when women are experiencing so many different hormonal changes and having morning sickness and nausea and all those things, that I was able to still support the growth of my baby by consuming the fruits and veggie capsules every day. And not only that, but also with the 5 plant-based omegas that has all the 5 fatty acids. It has, like Lauren said, the folate, the DHA, the EPA, and the LAA, which for me, like I have never liked taking fish oil. I don't like the way it tastes. I've always had like a weird reflux to it. So having that pure form of the algae, and I have been a vegan in the past also, so I've always had kind of like a weird stigma with the fish oil, that it's really awesome for me to know that I'm building the foundation for our baby the most that I can. And now that I'm in my second trimester, I just turned 17 weeks yesterday, which is crazy because I feel like it's flying by. I'm gaining some of the energy back, but like Lauren said, I might be 4 years older, but this pregnancy feels different. I keep feeling like, okay, I need a nap in the afternoon, but I can do this more and more and more. And, I'm able to focus on eating whole foods and making healthy choices. I'm also able to participate in the monthly Shred 10, like you were talking about, because it is safe for pregnant moms and breastfeeding moms, because it's just fruits and vegetables. It's not some diet fad or anything dangerous. And it's really nice to be able to be a part of a community that's just encouraging healthy habits and just being conscious of what we're eating, what we're not eating, and the amount of water we're drinking. I'm also noticing that I'm craving less junk food and sweets during this pregnancy, which is awesome. And my husband and I are super excited to see what our first Juice Plus baby is going to be like. Others in the community have talked about, like Lauren was talking about her middle son or her youngest son, how different his health is. And I'm just really excited to see, because, this will be the baby that I have made and grown that has been having Juice Plus in utero, and compared to our older ones that have been doing that, at an older age, which I'm super grateful for. So I'm excited to see the difference with that as well. And then also in August, I completed my birth doula training, which was really funny because ironically, I got pregnant a month later. It's funny how the world works. But, through that training, I learned so many different things of how important prenatal nutrition is on like a whole new light. The importance of nutrition for both mother and baby, and how can, like Lauren was saying, it can create lifelong habits. The health effects on the baby are created in utero. Babies have taste buds in utero, and I've always believed that. I knew that through my other two pregnancies, and I didn't want them to grow up with the taste of McDonald's in their mouth, craving that from the beginning. And so I always have just been conscious of that. And this pregnancy especially is just, I don't want to eat those things. I don't like the way my body feels. Like Lauren was saying, the inflammation afterwards. Once you don't eat like that for such a long period of time, when you do, you can tell a difference. And it's just super important for women, especially prenatally, to not have to indulge. Like, everybody, oh, you're pregnant, you can eat what you want. It's like, that pregnancy weight doesn't come off right away. You might lose 10 pounds at birth with all the fluid and baby, but other than that, it's not necessary to overindulge during pregnancy. I think the average weight they suggest that you gain is like 30, maybe 40 pounds. So I do suggest to all my clients to really start consuming Juice Plus when they're pregnant. I always suggest it to friends that are having some major, like some fertility issues, maybe just trying to just change their nutritional ways. You never know. I mean, it's natural. And I think that, nutrition just plays such a vital role for fertility, prenatally, and postpartum recovery as well. And especially with the omegas, it's going to really help with the breast milk supply. And then another way that Juice Plus has really changed our family's life is by being able to enjoy the freedom of being a stay-at-home. I can't believe I'm going to say for 3 kids. But I'm still able to contribute. Next year we're going to have private school tuition and 3 babies, and when eggs are $7 a dozen, it adds up. And not just being able to pay those bills, but being able to have extra income to maybe have theme park passes or that extra vacation that you've been dreaming about, but maybe this year just was too tight. This economy is hard, and we're trying to figure out different revenues. And I'm super happy and grateful that I found that this community, because, being able to stay at home, I've been at home for almost 4 years now. And it's such a blessing to me that my children are going to be raised by their mother and not have to be shuffled around in different situations. And, it's just such a blessing. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm actually in my office / playroom, which is so great because my kids can literally play while I'm working. And, having them around and the flexibility it's such a blessing. I'm so, so grateful for it. And a lot of it too is earning back the cost of like literally getting paid to take care of my family and myself, and having that peace of mind on top of supplemental income. I mean, who can't say no to additional money? So, there's so many things that I'm grateful for Juice Plus, but I'm really grateful for this pregnancy and just the way that my frame of mind has changed this third pregnancy, and just the support that I've had from this community. So I want to thank you, Lauren, for introducing me to this whole community.
Yeah, of course. Well, just everything you said about your story, I'm like, I can relate to that. Oh, I can relate to that. And I see several head nods. So if you have been on Juice Plus, feel free to comment in the comment section or raise your hand if you've experienced any of those. I think it'd be fun for people to see that. But thank you so much, Liz, for sharing. And yes, I mean, this community the community and the ability to be an affiliate has totally changed our health trajectory. And I'm going to transition. I want to talk really quickly about some of the studies from pregnancies. And then we have 2 more stories. I know we're running a little bit longer, but I think this is really good. And so let me share with you really quickly. So there is a doctor who's a part of our community. And one thing you'll find is there are a lot of medical professionals who love taking care of their patients. I mean, Liz is a doula. You'll get to hear from Cindy shortly, but a lot of them reach retirement age and they still want to invest in people's health. And so there are different medical professionals who are a part of our company, who are affiliates. And for some of them, it may become a retirement opportunity where they still get to make an impact and an income, and it just be something really neat. So this is Dr. Doug Odom. There are some videos about him where he shares some things personally. This is a clip from it. But what I wanted to share is something that he shared at numerous medical conferences on the topic of pregnancy and his research, which is further proof to me that Juice Plus is the best of the best for prenatal health and supplementation. And he assessed the effect of Juice Plus on premature birth, preeclampsia, birth weight, and fetal growth. And here are the results from his own personal study, and these are amazing. So if you look at this, on the left, you see the Juice Plus group. On the right, you see the control group. And there were a number of patients that were in each one. And literally the rates for the Juice Plus group are, just for C-section alone, it's about 20% less with people who consumed Juice Plus. And then if you look at several of the other markers, I mean, you have a reduction of 4% for delivery, early delivery, preeclampsia, a reduction of 20%. Low birth weight, NICU admission. I mean, look at those. Like, who would not want that for their baby? I wish I would have known about it when I was pregnant with my first, but I didn't find out about it till later. But that is why I share, is because it does make such a difference, and the research shows. So every single parameter is remarkably improved in the Juice Plus group. So with that, I want to invite my friend. I call her Cindy, but she is Dr. Cynthia Gabaldon, and she saved me from I feel like she was a contributor to me not having a C-section with my first kiddo. So Cindy, I can't see you on here, but I want you to unmute. And she has such a wealth of experience, such a passion for helping moms and just people in general with their health through chiropractic. So I'm excited.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can see you too. Awesome. Well, I would love for you to share with everybody.
Thank you. I first learned about Juice Plus from the same doctor you learned about it from when I was pregnant with Alana 15 years ago. She's 15 and a half, so 16 years ago. Dr. C first introduced me to Juice Plus. And I wanted to also tell you that there is a study of the epigenetics. I don't know if you've heard that term. Epigenetics is the study of how behaviors and environments affect your genes. And it's something that I've been learning a lot about recently. There's some certification courses that I've been signed up to that have a lot to do with what we can do before pregnancy to prepare our bodies. I personally spent a year before I was pregnant cleaning out my body, getting my body ready. I didn't know about Juice Plus yet, but I actually was a little bit ahead of myself because I didn't realize epigenetics would come into my life in the future, which is so important. It's exactly what we're talking about today, that the things that we do before, during, and after pregnancy absolutely affect our babies. It affects their genes. So it affects how they're going to be able to fight off disease in the future, how they're going to be able to adapt, which is so important in their environment. Look at how we're changing our food supply. This is where that adaptability makes a big difference in how a person responds. So I personally have been involved with Juice Plus for about 16 years. But then professionally, I've seen a huge difference in the patients who, my practice is primarily pregnant women and children. And the people that take their nutrition more seriously have a far greater pregnancy and outcome. And so this is something that isn't just convenient because the economy is making it hard to produce at a cost-effective price right now, but it's also that we're absorbing it, that our bodies are utilizing it, and the kids love it. My kids have never been fighting me to take their gummies because they thought they were candy when they were little. They didn't even know that they were doing something healthy. So I would have to hide that from them. Not that they would be harmed by it, but I didn't want them eating a whole bag of, the gummies. One of the things that you mentioned earlier was the MTHFR. And I don't know if you know this, but I've read that about 60% of people are believed to have the MTHFR gene mutation. So it is important that we're getting our folate and not artificial means. In my practice, I do a little bit of educating on Juice Plus, but you have been very, very helpful because you have all these resources, all of these studies. I told me before that Juice Plus is the most researched company that has produced the most research when it comes to vitamins and vitamin absorption. So there's other companies that come and go, but Juice Plus has been around for over 25 years, if I'm not mistaken. Has done a really phenomenal job of educating and researching and improving their product and introducing other products. I heard Liz say about her age. I was 36 when I had my daughter and 40 when I had my son. And I think having the nutrition was a definite factor in the health of my pregnancies and of my children. My kids are 15 and 11. They've never had a drug. And when people don't believe me, they've never had an aspirin, they've never had a Tylenol, they've never had an antibiotic. Very, very rarely have they gotten sick. And when they do, it is a fraction of what other people experience for the same illness. When there's a flu or a virus going around, my kids either don't get it or they barely get it. And that's because they have an immune system that has been supported since before they got here. And so this is why I wanted to talk today on your talk, because this is such an important, unrecognized topic. Most people understand that they need good nutrition, but they don't really understand the value and the impact it's going to have on their children's lives forever. So in my professional opinion, what Juice Plus does is ensure in our busy lifestyles, because we're going, it ensures that we're going to provide what we need for ourselves, but most importantly during pregnancy for our babies. And so I really am proud of the work that you've done to educate women on this topic. And if there's anything that I can do, I know in my practice, the patients that pay the most attention to their nutrition are the ones who they breeze right through it. So, and the kids too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I think it's so meaningful when you hear healthcare professionals like yourself and even Liz, like as a doula, both you're working with moms and you're seeing hand in hand the difference it's making. I remember when Dr. C, who you talked about, he didn't show me the inside of the patient file, but when he was telling me about what Juice Plus could do, and this was in like a couple minutes in the room, right? When you're getting the baby looked at, or I guess I was pregnant interviewing him, right? He showed me the folder of a patient who'd been on Juice Plus and a patient who hadn't, just the thickness. And he goes, I never see the Juice Plus people. They're not here. They forget their wellness visits. And I was like, really? That can't be true. I wasn't raised like that. But I found that is the case. And also with my second, which you helped me with chiropractic through both of them, Dominic, the day he was born. But with Luca, guys, he shot out like a rocket. It was the easiest pregnancy, delivery, recovery ever. And I wish that I would have had that with my first, because it was a little tougher, but I'm so grateful for you. So thank you so much for hopping on and sharing. Well,
what do you
oh, go ahead.
I love it when people ask me, what do you do to pregnant women? And I'll say, well, I don't know if you noticed this, but babies have to the pelvis. I'm lining up the pelvis. That's out.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely
chiropractic.
Oh, there's
really matters. Yeah. You with your little peanut and then her two kids that she was about. So, all right. Well, we are going to wrap it up. And I'm going to have my friend Leah finish out talking with us a little bit about her experience. So I want you to see her beautiful family here. But I think in her story, she has been on a health journey for a very long time, but she was fortunate enough to find out about Juice Plus before she got pregnant or had any of her 4 kids. And she's the reason that I am here sharing today. Because she's invested a lot in me. So Leah, I'm so grateful for you're here, and I can't wait for everybody to hear your story.
Well, thank you so much just for inviting me to share. This topic is by far one of my most favorite topics to talk to people about when it comes to their health, because it has honestly held one of the sweetest memories and times of mine and my husband's lives. Just the process of pregnancy, labor and delivery, postpartum, bringing a new life into the world, and then getting to watch, like Dr. Cindy was saying, them flourish in their health in ways I did not as a kid. I wasn't a super sickly kid, but it was normal for me to have allergies every year. It was normal for me to get strep throat every once in a while and 1 or 2 severe colds every year. And I just thought that was just a way of life. And that is a completely different reality for my kids. And so just to back up a little bit, I'll give you a little bit of context for my family and I. So my husband, Damien, and I have been married for 16 years, and we have 4 kiddos. We also have 2 in heaven due to miscarriages, which I will mention more about briefly as part of my story. But Damien's a pastor and a seminary professor in the Orlando area, and I'm a health coach and a homeschool mama. And my story really started just before we got married. I was right out of college and found myself in the midst of a health crisis that really hit me out of nowhere. And that's really what started causing me to ask deeper questions about what does it really look like to be proactive about my health. That's not something I'd ever been taught necessarily. And to be honest, over a decade ago, a lot of people weren't talking about that type of thing, and they weren't talking about the connection between nutrition and disease. And so as I began to dig and learn more about this, I began to see such a connection between nutrition and disease. And interestingly, even though we weren't looking to grow our family or try to have kids yet, a lot of the issues that I was digging into, some of it had to do with my thyroid and my hormones. And I stumbled upon some things that I learned about my hormones that made me really concerned about being able to have kids one day. So I was in the midst of all these health issues and then suddenly becoming concerned about my own fertility. And some of you maybe have found yourself in that place before. And that's why I really wanted to for the long haul, it was a huge motivator for me to begin to be more proactive about the things that I was doing for my health, not just for my current health picture, but for, our future family one day. And so for me, what it looked like was going deeper in the basics, which I know sometimes we can just be so like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to eat healthier and drink water and move. But you guys, if we go deeper in the core things that we have known for a long time can impact our health, it oftentimes can eradicate any need for additional interventions. Or at minimum, it helps us understand, well, what are the specific areas that we actually do need interventions, and we can be more specialty in those areas during the seasons of life that we need them. And I've had those too. But for me, I realized very quickly that the biggest key was my diet. And in most cases, it plays 70 to 80% of the role, you guys, like not just in this topic we're talking about, but just in our health in general. And I never realized that. And so that was really when I began to start making proactive changes in my diet. And that can be a really overwhelming world to step into, and trying to figure out what to do for, what to eat and what not to eat and all these things. There's lots of opinions out there. And I am so grateful that it was during those early stages of my own journey that I was introduced to Juice Plus, partly because it helped me go deeper in the basics of getting more plant nutrition, more colors. You get different nutrition from all those colors in a simple way every day. And what happened was my husband and I actually started craving and eating plants, fruits and vegetables we had never eaten before. And so it was a double blessing because it was changing and impacting our DNA and our cells at the deepest level. So that was creating benefit, but also because it was causing us to change our diet and to desire the things that were going to create greater health down the road. And so our health pictures changed significantly. And that's another story. But it was paramount to have this in both of our bodies for probably 3 years, leading into getting pregnant with our first daughter. And I am so grateful just to share briefly about the fact that through all of my pregnancies, I would say I was in my mid-20s, mid-ish 20s with my first, and in my mid-30s with my fourth. And there wasn't much difference between the two pregnancies as far as my health, my energy. I felt strong in both pregnancies. I was able to have a natural labor and delivery with all 4 of my kids. And I do believe a lot of that has to do, we can't 100% control these things, but we can be very proactive in how we prepare physically and mentally. And a lot of that does have to do with how we're caring for our body nutritionally throughout pregnancy. But postpartum is a huge area of need for women. And Juice Plus was a huge foundation for me during postpartum, just with milk production. And I've seen this with a lot of my friends that have implemented Juice Plus during postpartum. Just, they have an incredible milk supply. They're just my brain. I didn't have foggy brain. Everything was clear. The only thing I did in addition to my Juice Plus capsules, was, and I would recommend this, at least learn about getting your placenta encapsulated as well. That was another tremendous added benefit that I think really helped my body transition postpartum extremely well. And those were things that just help contribute to really smooth, really healthy pregnancy and postpartum season of life. And what I do want to share just briefly, because I know that there are people on that have experienced pregnancy loss, and it is such a hard thing to go through. It's heart-wrenching. It is full of grief and sadness, and it's really weighty emotionally and physically. And what I want to share, especially in regards to how you're caring for yourself, is the importance of having a simple go-to nutrition solution every day. Was a real game changer for me personally that I didn't anticipate needing. You don't anticipate those things happening, but when you go through something like that, you have very limited ability to go over and beyond to care for yourself. And having the simple plant powders with Juice Plus every day that I could, automatically go to in order to help feed into my own personal healing was really extremely important. And just for those of you that have walked through something like that, from the standpoint of caring for yourself emotionally and physically, it's really important that you're nourishing yourself toward healing. And also just to encourage you that there really is hope beyond the loss. And I think that's, for me, where this business community has come in so significantly, because, something for me that started 10 years ago, just as a way to offset the cost of my family's Juice Plus, turned into a family of people that not only have supported me through some of the hardest times of my life, but also it's given me access to resources and to people that have actually helped me navigate give me a more natural approach to unexpected health situations that I find myself in, so that I can navigate them in a way that's going to help support my health and bring me out on the other side on a solid path. So, and I think that that has been an invaluable part of this journey for me personally. And I did want to mention when through all of my pregnancies, at minimum, I always doubled my Juice Plus. So I actually have never taken a prenatal. I'm not on here to recommend to you that that's something you have to work out for yourself and for your with your doctor. But what I will say is get yourself educated, because the reason I chose that is because through education and learning, it was a no-brainer to me, because the whole point of what we're putting in our body is to nourish and make sure the essential nutrients are there for baby and for mom. And the best way to get your nutrition is from food and food sources. And so I really encourage you to get educated on that, because and there is a book that you could even read that refers to a lot of things we're talking about. It's called Origins, How the First 9 Months of Your Life Affects the Rest of Your Life. And it goes into some of the research of how the building blocks that are happening when you're in utero are absolutely going to influence how, you're susceptible or not to certain sicknesses and diseases and things like that later, much later on, not just in your childhood years. And so that to me was essential. And that was how I've always approached all of my pregnancies. And with the shred came about a little bit before I had my third daughter. So I had already experienced really healthy pregnancies prior to the shred. But what I would say, some of you may not know what the shred is, and that's okay, but it's a healthy lifestyle program that gives you more specific guidelines to implement for your health. And you can adapt it when you're pregnant. And that's what I did. And what I found was I did experience more energy, clearer frame of mind. My skin was clearer and just kind of had a different sort of glow to it. And I felt stronger when I was doing the shred as well. And so those are all really great things to feel when you're pregnant and when you're preparing to deliver a baby. So, and I would also say it was a big part of my healing postpartum, just because the more you're doing in terms of your nutrition, the more it also helps healing, it helps lower inflammation and the things that, are essential in your healing process postpartum. So that's a little bit about my story. I'm so grateful just to be able to be on and share a little bit. And it's been so encouraging to get to hear all these other women's stories. Lauren, thank you so much for just really compelling all of us to give greater consideration to how we're caring for ourselves and the people in our lives that are bringing little ones into the world. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for being vulnerable about hard things. I think that as women, we're so used to, pushing past and taking care of everybody else. And, it takes a lot of courage to show up and share that. So thank you, Leah. And thank you for everybody for staying on. I know we have run a little bit over, but I'm going to close us out super quickly. And I'm just so grateful for all of you who shared tonight. And also for those of you that have stayed on. The fact that you're on and, you're listening is really going to help motivate all of you for the new year in different ways, whether it's speaking up about things that matter more for our kids' long-term health, or maybe, you're looking to take your health back or prepare for that pregnancy, or, have the energy after the kids are here to keep up with them. No matter where you are, I just want to encourage you, to get connected with the person that invited you tonight. And I'm sharing my screen here. I wanted to let you know real quick that we have a program called Healthy Starts for Families. And any kid that's age 4 or up can actually get Juice Plus for free with an adult order. So it doesn't have to be a child of yours. It could be a grandkid. It could be a niece or nephew, but anybody who orders, that's one of the huge benefits of our company. And my kids have taken advantage of it, all 4 of them, and any that come into our house as foster parents. And it's really been a game changer. So, those of us that shared tonight, we are a community of moms, and we really just desire to, spread this this message of better health. Our health matters, our immune system matters, especially with all that's happened the last few years. And we know that moms and women want their families to be healthy. We are the ones that care for everyone else, and sometimes to our own detriment, but hopefully not anymore after tonight. So thank you so much for hopping on. Share this message. We will have another call next week. And let me pull that flyer up really quickly. I'm going to stop the recording, but if you want to take a screenshot and you would like to invite someone next week to join us, I want you to have that invitation. So let me stop our recording.